But again, I want to look to, is there a multiplier that I can use? If I want these to be at the same coefficient, then what I need to do is say, well, what can I multiply by 3 to get it to be a 6? And that answer is going to be a 2. What's up, guys? In this video, what I want to do is tackle 3 problems you must know to be able to pass your test, quiz, or class that involves a system of equations. Once you kind of know the basics of solving a system algebraically, you're going to get started getting tested with that difficulty just a little bit. So it's really important to make sure you can kind of level up to make sure you truly understand how to use elimination as well as substitution correctly. I will give you a little bit of a heads up on the way that I like to teach a substitution and elimination. I only use substitution when I have an equation where a variable is isolated all by itself. So therefore, even though I could isolate x by adding a 2y to the other side and then doing substitution, to me, that's a little bit more work. And for any problem where a variable is not already isolated, I just focus on substitution. So actually all the problems in this video are going to be solved using elimination. But if you really are stuck or really need some explanation on how to use substitution, go and check out my last video where I solved 3 easier problems using the substitution method. All right, so let's go and take a look at this first example. So you can see here I have 2 equations that are in standard form. The x and the y's are aligned. That's something we want to look for when we have them in standard form, that the x and the y's are going to be aligned. And since no variable is isolated, I'm going to be using the elimination method, basically meaning I'm going to look to either adding or subtracting the 2 equations. Now you can add or subtract, but technically I always like to add. So I'm not even going to worry about subtracting the 2 equations. I am always going to add. And the way that I could do that is I can always use a multiplier. So technically you can always solve for x or for y. And in this case, like I can get the same coefficients for my x and for my y by multiplying. So if I want to get the same coefficient for my x variable, I could multiply the top equation all by 3, right? That would give me now a 3x, and then those 2 would have the same coefficient. I don't really want to get a positive 3x. I would actually want it to be a negative 3, so therefore I could add those 2 equations. So technically, if I was going to eliminate x, I would multiply everything in the top by a negative 3. But I'm actually not going to do that as well either, because what I recognize in this problem is I have a negative 2y up here and I have a positive y here. So for me, the easiest course of action would be just to multiply my bottom equation by 2. Now again, it's extremely important that you're putting the equation in parentheses or brackets to recognize, to remember that you're multiplying this 2, this multiplier, times every single term. And the reason why that's important is because what you're doing is you're not changing any of the solutions. All you're doing is just producing an equivalent equation. So as long as you multiply anything by a number, you're going to have that equivalent equation, which again, you can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything times 2. So I'm going to use this little distributive property here. So therefore I can now obtain a new equation. And I'm actually just going to rewrite everything out again. So therefore we can visually see what is happening. So 2 times 3x is going to be a 6x, a 2 times y is going to be a positive 2y, and a 2 times a negative 5 is going to be a negative 10. Now what I want you to recognize here is I have a positive 2i and a negative 2i, right? They have the same coefficient 2, but one's positive and one's negative. So now I've obtained exactly what I have, the same coefficient, one positive, one negative. Now I can go ahead and add the 2 equations. And again, since my variable is already vertically aligned, I can just go and add vertically. So a x plus 6x is going to be a 7x. This is going to give me a 0y, which is basically just eliminating the y. And then 3 plus negative 10 is going to be a negative 7. Now just divide by 7 on both sides, and you're going to get a x equals a negative 1. Now when it comes into solving for y, again, you have to choose, should I plug this into the top equation or to the bottom equation? Again, it doesn't really matter which one you do. Since my y did not have a coefficient in this original bottom equation, I'm going to use that one because therefore there's nothing else I need to do to the y except for get rid of this expression over here. So what I'll do is I'm going to now replace a x with a negative 1. And again, to show that, I'm going to put parentheses around this negative 1, right? All I did from 3x, I just replaced the x with a negative 1, right? Because they're equal to each other. So 3 times negative 1 plus a y equals a negative 5. Again, I'm just restating the original bottom equation, and I'm just replacing the x with a negative 1 because a negative 1 is what I just found. And 3 times negative 1 is going to be a negative 3 plus y equals a negative 5. And now just to go ahead and solve for y, since it didn't have a coefficient, right? You can see how that was nice. Y is going to equal a negative 2. Therefore, the values for x and y that satisfy both these equations, or where the 2 lines are going to intersect, is going to be at x equals negative 1 and y equals negative 2. Again, in this example, we don't have anything isolated, so I'm going to be using substitution. All my variables are aligned. That's awesome. So I'm just going to add something vertically. But again, I want to look to, is there a multiplier that I can use? And unfortunately, I don't have positive and negatives in front of my variables. Actually, the coefficient of all of my variables are going to be positive. So you could go through subtracting the 2 equations, but again, I prefer not to do that. I prefer prefer to multiply by a negative scalar and then add the two equations. So in this case, it looks like the x and the y are both multiplied by 2, so it doesn't really matter which one you want to focus on. I'll just go ahead and focus on x because it's the farthest left. But if I want these to be at the same coefficient, then what I need to do is say, well, what can I multiply by 3 to get it to be a 6? And that answer is going to be a 2. But again, I want it to be a negative 6, so therefore I can add the two equations. So I'm going to do a negative 2, and again, I'm going to put everything in parentheses here to remind me that I need to multiply that negative 2 times everything. So now let's go ahead and multiply that times everything, and then go ahead and restate to my top equation. Okay, so now you can see that I have a positive and a negative, and they both have the same coefficient. So again, what I'm simply going to do is just going to add them up. So therefore, that's going to give me a 0x, which is 0, right? This is going to give me actually a 0y, which is again 0. And this is going to give me a negative 40. So again, we have an issue here because now I have 0 is equal to a negative 40. And I think we can all agree that this does not make any sense, and that is not true. And again, remember, whenever we're doing substitution or elimination and we get an equation that is not true, that represents parallel lines graphically, as well as no solution, meaning there's no two values for x and y that are going to satisfy these two equations simultaneously. All right, in this last example, we're coming up with another substitution problem. So we have none of our variables are isolated, and we have a lot of coefficients here. And a lot of times that spells trouble for students because we have to make the determination what variable is going to be the easiest for us to be able to go ahead and solve for. And there's a couple issues here. If I look at the x's, I have a positive and negative, right? Which I like because I always like to add my two equations. The problem is the coefficients are a 3 and a 4. So unfortunately, I just can't use one multiplier, right? I can't multiply something by 3 to get to 4, and I can't multiply something by 4 to get to 3. What I'm actually going to have to do is do two multipliers. And that is not something we're going to handle in this video. That's something we'll handle in the next video. So then I move to the y variable, and I recognize that, again, they both have coefficients. Now, thankfully, though, I can multiply a 2 times a 5 to give me 10. But the problem is they're both positive, right? And again, I always like to add my two equations, right? And if I have a 10y plus a 10y, well, that's going to give me 20y. That's not going to eliminate them. So the trick here, what you're going to want to simply do is just multiply by negative 2 on the top equation. So when I go ahead and write that out, again, I'm going to apply my parentheses, and I'm just going to apply this little distributive property. So therefore, I can remember to make sure I multiply every single term by that negative 2 to produce my equivalent equation. Now what I'll simply do is go ahead and rewrite my two equations before I go ahead and add. And again, please note that like when I multiplied negative 2 on the top equation, like my bottom equation was preserved, right? And nothing really happened to that, or nothing needs to happen to that. And again, if you don't like multiplying by negative 2 or kind of are still confused why I chose a negative 2, again, I wanted the positive negative so I can add them. But if let's say you just did chose 2, then that's fine. You could go ahead and subtract the two equations rather than adding. But in my mind, adding two equations is a lot easier than trying to subtract them. Because again, we have my variables aligned, perfect. I can just add my coefficients for each variable to be able to get my answer. So a negative 4x minus 4x here is going to be a negative 10x. Negative 10y plus a positive 10y, that's just going to give me a 0y, which again is just going to be 0, which we don't need to write. And then a negative 54 plus a negative 46 is going to equal a negative 100. And now you can see I just have a one-step equation, so I'll divide by a negative 10 on both sides, and x is going to equal a positive 10. Now, in this case, when I want to go ahead and solve for y, I got to pick the top or the bottom equation. And I think you would agree, whenever all my variables have coefficients, I don't think there is an easy choice here. So I would just recommend, if you don't know which one to pick, then maybe just pick the top equation. I don't think there's an easy choice here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the x in the original equation, not the one where I multiply by negative 2, but in the original equation with a 10. And again, make sure I'm representing that. I'm doing that by using parentheses. And therefore, that's going to give me a positive 30 equals 5y equals a 27. And now I can just use my inverse operations to go ahead and solve. So I get a 5y is going to equal a negative 3. And therefore, now I can divide by 5 on both sides. And you can say that y is equal to a negative 3/5. So therefore, that is going to be the two values that are going to satisfy the equation. And if you sometimes get confused, or if you get in a negative or a fraction, then go ahead and plug them in, right? Again, these two values, what they mean is these are going to be the intersection if you were to graph them. As well, if you were to plug an x and a y into either one of these equations, it's going to make the equations true. So if you're unsure if you did something correct or if you made a mistake, then go ahead and plug them in. Like mentally check to make sure they work. And when I went ahead and mentally checked to make sure x and a y, when plugged into this equation, make both equations true, they did. So I feel comfortable even sometimes when I get a fraction and you don't expect it. If you can do these three problems and understand what you're doing, I think you're pretty safe to be able to pass your test or quiz. But if you want to take that next step, that next jump to getting an A, then go ahead and check my next video where I tackle even some more difficult problems. Now, if you just want more examples like this, or you want to check out the resources and notes that I have for my students, then go ahead and check out the playlist and information I have for you down below. Cheers.